Hello, my name is Ziv Shor, and I'm country manager for JLL Israel. With us today, we have Filippo and Pedro from JLL Portugal, but unfortunately, Paolo from Kennedy Law couldn't join us. I'm happy to welcome you to this webinar on residential investments in Portugal. Portugal is one of the most interesting touristic, business, and retirement hubs in the world. That, together with the robust JLL presence in country, makes it one of the best investment destinations globally, especially for Israeli investors. We will today's webinar and would find it meaningful. We have a team ready to answer your questions live yet, but also free to reach out to us in the link posted below throughout this webinar. I hope you will enjoy this webinar, and Filippo, over to you.
Thank you, Ziv. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure of presenting you today our webinar about Portugal. We have seen a huge amount of interest coming from Israel. So we as JLL, you probably know us. JLL is a Fortune 500 company. We are present in over 80 countries, including Israel and Portugal, of course, and we have over 80,000 employees worldwide. In Portugal, JLL is present since 25 years, and we have several offices. Our headquarters is in Lisbon. And then we have a second office in Porto. Close to Lisbon, we have other two offices, three actually, one in Cascais, one in Oeiras, and one in Comporta, which is an upcoming travel destination. We have another office in the south, close to Faro, in the region of Algarve, and we are also opening more stores and more offices around Portugal. As you can see from the map, Portugal is a European hub with connection to all over the world and easy travel, and there are also several daily flights to Tel Aviv. Portugal has been increasingly interesting for international investors, and it's one of the leading destinations in terms of tourism. It has a very strong attractiveness for business and for expat. There's a very high English proficiency, so lots of people are speaking English, so it's easy to set up business. It's a great place for tourism. It's a great place to study as well. So all of these elements that you're seeing here, including being one of the oldest democracies in the world and one of the safest countries in the world, actually now it's the fourth safest country with very little crime and gun violence and very good stability. So it makes an excellent ecosystem for business to thrive and people to relocate to. So it won several times and several titles as a best investment destination and the best expat destination, attracting big, large multinationals investing here and opening up offices. If we look at the supply and we go a little bit more in depth into the residential market, we see that after 2011, the new construction coming into the market has really dropped. So there is a huge gap in the supply, and the stock of current unit is really outdated. So basically, we are having 80% less unit in the last 10 years comparison to the 10 years before. However, as you can see from this slide, the demand has been growing steadily. Actually, this is the number of sales. And as you can see, purchase and sales is mainly on existing units that are outdated. And so there's a need for new construction and for new demand and new offer to come online. If we look here now at the demand, we can see the red line that represents the foreigners buying into Portugal. And we see that they represent around 10 to 12% of the market. So Portugal is fueled by a very strong local market. However, more and more investors are coming from abroad and investing into the country, pushing the demand. So this has a clear effect in prices, as you can see now. Portugal is a late player. It developed a little bit later than other European countries such as Italy, Germany, France, or Spain. However, it does offer a great historical, cultural value. And so we are seeing now Portugal catching up to European prices, still being cheaper, and with a huge opportunity of future growth due to these new residents coming in, new business, and attractiveness of the country. So you can see in this line what the price dynamic has been. So in short, what we have seen, there's a strong need for housing. Portugal is one of the countries with the lowest stock of apartments and dwellings per 1,000 inhabitants. This will push prices up, and it's also due to the characteristic of Portugal being one of the oldest democracy and where most of the urban space is already developed. So there's going to be a constant pressure for housing. The residential investment trend, we have seen institutional investors buying more and more into the residential as a safe asset class. So this is increasing the pressure on the stock. However, since it's such a good investment, it will continue. And then finally, our experts have been analyzing the current rental opportunities in Portugal. And we have found that there is a lack of good quality units, especially in the big cities of Lisbon and Porto, but elsewhere in the country. So for an investor that is buying new constructions and high-end apartment, there's a big demand from internationals moving to Portugal for a year or two at the beginning and looking for a good place to live. So all of these are the trends, and this is what is pushing the popularity of Portugal. And so we will today show you a little bit of what's available in case you're interested in investing in Portugal. So I'm going to give the stage over to Ziv and my colleague Pedro, so you can get a little bit more info on what we have for you here in Portugal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Filippo, for this high-level overview of Portugal. And now I'll hand it over to you, Pedro, to give some specific investment opportunities for those of us who would like to invest in Portugal. Pedro, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ziv, and welcome, everyone. Just to give you a quick overview, JLL in Portugal is market leader on residential, especially on new developments. We are bringing you some opportunities of our portfolio. We have a big portfolio. Whatever you think you want to invest, the best opportunities in the major cities of the country, we will probably have something to offer you. So what we thought, knowing the typical investment from the current investors that we have in the market, we selected 5 projects, 2 in Porto, 2 in Lisbon, and 1 in an external area that we'll talk a little bit about it. The first 2 are in Porto. Porto is the second biggest city in Portugal. It's situated in the north, as we saw previously on the map. I like to make this comparison because I think it makes it clearer for everyone. If we compare it to Spain, Lisbon being the capital city, as is Madrid, more institutional. Porto is a little bit like Barcelona, as a more artistic city, a more industrial city, where there's a lot of wealth also situated in the north of the country. And Porto is let's say, the capital of the north. First project that we are bringing is called Antas Atrium. It is the biggest new development in the city, one of the biggest in the country. It is a spectacular regeneration of a part of the city near Porto Stadium, with a lovely and renewed urban scenario and public space. The development offers a very competitive price, from studios to 4-bedroom apartments. So from 65 to 350 square meters, so a big offer, starting from 292,000 euros. All of the units with parking, the majority of them with outdoor areas. There's a big park, a big part of the garden that belongs to the condominium. So it's a great opportunity in Porto, already in the market. Next project, it's called The Yard. We brought this especially to you because it's a great opportunity in terms that it's a new project situated on the south bank of Porto. It is currently on a pre-sale phase. And that means that we can have special payment conditions for buyers. You have a set of 2 to 4-bedroom apartments from 109 to 240 square meters. Starting prices of a two-bedroom being 332,000 euros, and we're talking about apartments, all of them with big outdoor areas related to the living areas. The majority of them with quite wide views, some of them with river and sea views. So the development itself is very well located on a point where you have this magnificent views towards the river. Private parking, and also a condominium where you have a set of amenities as a kids' room, an indoor swimming pool, a gym, being obviously on a location where with a consolidated neighborhood. Very good opportunity in Porto for a price that I have many doubts that we will be able to offer to the market such competitive prices. Next one, we will go to Lisbon. First project that we are bringing you, obviously Lisbon being the capital city. It's the city where we have witnessed the biggest amount of demand in the market. Filippo has told you that on average, we're talking about an international market between 11 to 12% of the market being international. This is as the market as a whole. If we look at the premium part of the market, which is the middle high to high segment, that's where JLL is situated. We can tell you that, for example, on our sales of 2021, we had 47 different nationalities buying with us, and 40% of our sales are to international. So this is a trend that is here and that will not leave. Aurora is a great example of this, of one of these opportunities. Aurora in Portuguese means dawn, the birth of the day. I think it's a great name for a building that has a sculpture of the goddess of dawn in the front facade. It's a great opportunity in the epicenter of the city. It's walkable to, if you know Lisbon, Liberdade Avenue, which is the main luxury avenue of Lisbon. Walkable to Corte Inglês, walkable to Marquês de Pombal, which is the most central roundabout and plaza of Lisbon. And you can find here 1 to 3 bedroom apartments from 52 to 160 square meters with parking from 442,000 euros. So Porto obviously being a cheaper city, Lisbon a little bit more expensive, but still at very, comparing to other capital cities of Europe, a very competitive price to be in the city center, walkable to any place, and even to the most worthwhile touristic locations of Lisbon. Next one is called Beato Quarter. This is an incredible regeneration project that converts a set of 5 buildings that were previously industrial services buildings into a new private residential condominium. It's a spectacular renewal because these houses that are previously industrial and have been transformed into residential have floor-to-ceiling heights much bigger than average, huge windows, and they are all surrounding a big private garden that belongs to the condominium. So it's a project that is very near the river as well. Also a great investment opportunity because prices here are quite lower than you would expect. It's not an area that is as central as Aurora. It's a little bit more to a newer part of the city. We can change to the next slide. And you can find here 1 to 5 bedroom apartments from 65 to 350 square meters. Also a big offer, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 bedroom apartments, 65 units in total, and prices starting at 355,000 euros. We're talking about the new builds with parking, some of them with outdoor areas. It is a very good opportunity, obviously, in our opinion. Lastly, if you want something that is not so urban, so something that is not so in the city center, and would like to look at opportunities outside, to a cool place near the sea, to a trendy location that is up and coming, that is becoming more and more well known by a rich international market, Comporta is the place to be. And over here, we are bringing you a project called Almaluza. It is a renovation of a boutique hotel. It has around 60 hotel rooms plus 31 touristic apartments. These touristic apartments are the ones that will be for sale. We are talking about yields between 3 to 5% being offered on a rental perspective. These yields depend on the occupancy. So there's a contract between the operator and the future owner that guarantees these minimum of 3% and can go up to 5% depending on the operation occupancy. The hotel is currently under renovation and is hoped to be completed in the summer so they can start the operation in June, July this year. It's called Almalusa. It's a Portuguese well-known boutique hotel operator, and you will find here one-bedroom apartments from 41 to 58 square meters, starting at 230,000 euros. Comporta also gives you an opportunity to have your golden visa at a threshold that is inferior to the one that you will find in Lisbon of 400,000 euros. So also a great opportunity for that purpose as well. Okay, so over here, I think, Ziv, I will pass it over to Filippo, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So first of all, thank you, Pedro, very much for that. And Filippo, I'll let you take it and explain to people on everything they need to know about the purchasing process and any other important information.
Thank you very much. Yes, we just want to give a couple of information about the purchasing process and the important information an investor needs to know. As we said, unfortunately, today the lawyer couldn't be with us. However, we do have several law firms that have offices in Tel Aviv, in Israel, and here in Portugal. So do reach out to us to be connected with the law firm in order to get all of the info on the legal side regarding citizenship and golden visa and taxation. However, today I'm going to walk you through a little bit the key info. As we can see here, mortgage is available for non-Portuguese residents. Typically, the banks here can finance up to 70% of the property value. The loan can be taken according to the age of the applicant, between 5 and even 50 years, and rates are extremely low. At the moment, we have even lower than the 1.7 we have here, and definitely much lower than the 3% maximum quoted here. These are yearly interest rate. If we're comparing this number to the yield you can achieve in Portugal, which is typically 3 to 6% on a typical rental contract, you can definitely have the bank co-investing with you, borrowing cash at a lower cost comparison to the yield you will achieve. And on top of that, of course, you have a healthy capital appreciation. Acquisition costs are also important. They are typically between 8 and 9% of the purchasing price. It depends if you are using a lawyer or not. We always recommend it because it's also tax deductible. And also, depending on the price of the unit, you will trigger a different type of real estate transfer tax. All of these costs are triggered at the deed, at the handover of the apartment. So if you are buying under construction, you will have to pay these costs only at the very end when you get the keys. If you are producing income in Portugal, you will only be taxed on the income generated in Portugal, and the taxation rate goes typically between 5 and 28% according to the type of income and the type of rental contract, but most cases will be taxed 28% on the profit. So as I said before, all of the costs will be discounted. Disposal costs. So after a number of years, you are always free to resell your property. This is a freehold type of ownership. When you sell, you will be taxed on a 28% on the profit you generate with the acquisition. So it's the same of your income. And then in terms of holding costs are really low. We are talking about 0.3 to 0.5% per year of the tax registration value of the property. Typically, tax registration is much lower than the actual market price. And still this property tax, this yearly tax, it's quite low in most cases. So it's important to know that it's not a big cost in the overall scheme. The purchasing process. So if you find the right property, of course, we are here to help you. We have a portfolio of over 5,000 properties that we can help you choose from. If you find one, the lawyer typically can do most of the required steps online. So we always advise you to have an online call with a lawyer. You can sign a power of attorney, and the lawyer will be able to open a bank account and the tax ID for you here in Portugal. And then you can explore also citizenship possibilities and passport possibilities in case you need so. After you chose the property and you have a lawyer, you typically will reserve the property with the first payment between 5,000 and 15,000, depending on the value of the property. This is needed to take the property off the market and allow you a couple of weeks to a month to complete the due diligence alongside with the lawyer. So if you have mandated the lawyer will check for you the reservation agreement and the promissory sales and purchase agreement, which is a contract where all of the information regarding the sales of the unit is described. The lawyer can sign this document for you, but of course will review it in order to make all questions clear on the contract. If you are purchasing a property under construction, then you will have a number of months between the moment you are buying the unit and you're signing the contract and the deed, so the actual transfer of full ownership. And typically, you will have a phase payment where you will put 10 to 20% to block the property in the contract, and then at the deed, and according to construction schedule, you will pay some additional share of the purchasing price, and then the final payment will be only when the property is fully delivered to you. With the notarization, the deed, and the full transfer of property and handover, the transaction charges are triggered, so you will be charged by the government for the transfer tax, the stamp duty, and the notary cost. After the property is complete, we at JLL Portugal, we can offer you a full service, so we can help you rent the property. Either we will take care directly on a mid-term rental or long-term, or we'll use a partner to help you rent it on the short term. We also have teams that can help you renovating or furnishing the property. And then, of course, after, if you are the need to resell the apartment, we can also do that. So I think this is everything from our side. I give the word back to Ziv.
Thank you very much, Filippo. And thank you very much, Pedro, for this interesting webinar. For those of you who have questions, again, feel free to reach out to us either in the chat or in the link that we provided with the invite for this webinar. As we said, there's a lot of interesting opportunities for Israeli investors in Portugal. So I hope you will take advantage of those. I'd like to wish you a great night, and thank you.